in the gut. What's up, guys? So on this episode of Busted Beaters go-kart Barbie build thing, we're gonna be getting that seat attached to this frame so we can get it on this go-kart. Let's go. I'm gonna start things off by taking our seat, putting it on our frame, marking where I need to drilling it, and then I'm gonna be using those 7mm nuts and bolts to bolt everything together. Should be pretty simple. Well, you guys, old Santa Claus came, and wait till you see what he brought. We got all our bolts so we can finally attach this seat to the frame, and I don't know if you guys have ever used this Bolts Depot before. This is my first time ever using them, but I'm pretty happy with everything so far. Obviously not sponsored by them, but all these bolts and nuts came in these labeled bags. I even have a QR code if you want to reorder them. Real happy with that. Also got some chain tools so I can cut and get those chains on there. I don't think we'll be using these today, but I did need to get those ordered. Got some more master links because we are definitely gonna need more than the 2 that came in that one kit. Got some 14mm washers just so we can have some matching hardware to bolt down those axles. And most importantly, we also got our steering wheel quick disconnect. So this is pretty exciting. This piece here is gonna get welded onto that shaft. And then this black piece here will get bolted onto the steering wheel. Now I don't think those holes are gonna line up, but I got a drill. And everything I got off of Amazon came with these notes. You're the man from Busted Beaters fans, so thank you guys for that. I want to grow up to be just like you one day, from the fans, of course. How do you deal with being so talented? And also, there is nobody as gorgeous as you. Thank you guys. I might have typed those up myself, but I imagine that's exactly what you would have typed out to me if you could. I'm most excited about getting the steering wheel on, so I'm gonna be starting with this quick disconnect first. We'll get this little piece detached there, and we'll get this one bolted on. We'll have to see what kind of modifications we have to do. And I also know that our shaft is gonna be too big, so we might just have to sand that down a little bit so we can tack on this piece. Holy cow. So hopefully you guys can see that the whole pattern does line up with those slots, but these new bolts are bigger than the ones on the steering wheel, so we're just gonna have to drill these out slightly bigger so we can fit those bigger bolts in. Oh, right in the gut. Originally, I thought that the steering wheel was gonna sit a lot lower, closer to the tank, and I was gonna have a problem getting feel in it, hence why I thought I needed a disconnect. Definitely don't need one now. I got this sitting a little higher. It's at a height that I like. I could always modify it if I want, but I'm liking where it's at. And how cool is that? I mean, I can just pull the steering wheel off whenever I want. It'll make getting in and out of this thing a little easier, and when I go to put feel in it, it'll just be that much better. Now the only thing when I was fitting this up, it was kind of crude, but I took a sanding wheel and just sanded down that shaft to get it the proper diameter. Then I kind of beat that sleeve on and tacked it in, but looks pretty good to me. I can now pull this seat, unbolt it from the frame, put that frame back on, drill some holes, and get our new hardware to bolt everything down. Now before I bolt that seat in, I am going to get all these bolts replaced. There's a whole mixture of them. I just grabbed them out of my random bolts bin. Sodicard, the original manufacturer, welded this bar on both ends of these bolts to help capture them. I'm going to be replicating that exact same thing. I got some of this round bar here that I plan on using to do just that. All those bolts are finally captured, and as promised in the last video, I'm gonna start working on getting that caliper attached. I am running into a slight issue mounting this caliper, so if I pull these brackets out on the side here, they're interfering with these bolts. So I'm gonna cut this middle bearing out and move it over. Moving this middle bracket over is not gonna interfere with these sprockets, and it'll give me a lot more room to mount that caliper. And I'll be able to mount those caliper brackets in a spot where they're not gonna interfere with these bolts. So if we ever have to pull this axle out and pull these bolts out, we'll be able to pull them out. Originally, this caliper bracket was tacked onto this bigger diameter tube, so everything worked out pretty good. But now it's going to be tacked onto the smaller diameter tube, which means that this little angle piece is hanging too far off. So I'm going to have to cut that off, and then we'll probably have to move it up and reattach it just to give this thing some good sideways strength. Man, spent all that time making this piece here, and now I get to just cut it off. I made these pieces identical, then I also cut these notches a little deeper to fit that smaller tube. I'm gonna tack these brackets into place, and then I got these little triangle gussets that are also gonna get tacked in. And because I'm extra, I'm gonna be connecting this bracket to the top tube with another plate, so I'll be welding those two plates together and making one nice bracket. Both of the caliper brackets are in. I made these little gusset pieces. They're gonna go up in this corner, and that's just gonna help fight that sideways motion.